All right, cool. Seems okay, now I think it's good. All right. So like I said, this is going to be, we're going to be doing these every 2 weeks. I think it's cool because more people are hopping on. And with time, I give this like maybe a couple of months, we should be seeing like a lot of activity from certain people. No, not saying anybody in particular, but I think that should be enough time to make people comfortable with these Zooms. So I just think less is more in this situation. As for videos, I am planning on starting the the outlines for them probably like next week. I have to really like fully structure it out first before I can, you know, get into the details. So if there's like anything you guys want me to look into in particular, just like send me over a DM, and I'll make sure to sort it out or see how I can go about it. Because I only have had like 1 or 2 recommendations so far. So if you have, just like send me another DM so I could copy paste your message and keep it like in a vault for whenever I start to add on the extras, because that's what that is for me, the extras. So yeah, with that being said, outline should be coming soon. I won't give too many updates on it just because I don't like being rushed when doing stuff like this. So yeah, I guess just I'll let you guys know as the weeks go by. Cool. So also what I was thinking of doing was like as you can see, I changed my chart colors. Just wanted something new for the year. I thought gray was getting a bit boring. And if you guys remember, the reason why I went to gray originally, that was like, this is like 2-3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, I changed to gray because it was kind of like a psychology thing. But now we're kind of to the point where that's pretty irrelevant, if I'm being 100% honest. I think that if you're blaming things on your chart colors at this point, especially if you've been here since then I think you're looking at it the wrong way, and I think you're making excuses as to why you are the way you are, or why certain things are the way that they are. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut that off. I'll probably change colors here and there just to keep it, fresh per se. So yeah, in terms of actually going into the chart works, DXY, I don't remember exactly what we said 2 weeks ago, but what I did was for the pairs that I traded today, I made sure to see what I was looking at from a weekly POV. So now I'm probably gonna start like color coding like a lot of things. For example, my orange lines are usually going to be my targets. So for the weekly for the weekly time frame, we know that technically we are bearish internally, have to be bearish internally in order to or because of the continuation BOSs that we've been seeing from a weekly slash swing scale. So because we're seeing that, I am anticipating the next point of liquidity, that being the orange line. So that's kind of what my target is in the short medium term, especially with how low we have gotten with DXY. So as I start to dive in, we can look at our daily. Daily has really nothing. Actually, daily does have something. The weekly has something too. So also something I was noting, right? So the reason why I was also looking at the weekly time frame was right? We see a candle, right, that takes out multiple previous wicks, right? And yes, these aren't technically highs, but this is the weekly time frame, meaning that if you're talking scalp minor intraday, these are potentially highs in terms of a minor intraday or scalp scale. So because that is being taken out and that creates the move into the downside, because we are continuously bearish, I'm kind of assuming that because we've taken liquidity out here, I want to see potentially, right, something like that in the longer term. Just because I cannot really assume anything from a bullish sense. And two, this is, right, outside of it being continuation BOSs into the upside, these are also failed reactions, failed bullish reactions, right? Now, whether that's a pullback or a failed reaction, whichever way you want to look at it, depending on the context, right? All I'm pointing out is that these are failed bullish reactions and that we are seeing more downside. So I just cannot really fight that bias. So as I start to zoom in, right, we see that our weekly candle, right, is really just a minor / major intraday push into the upside. That's what that is. And this is what I mean by those wicks being, right, potential highs before. See high number 1, high number 2, another high. So I am anticipating this to potentially be right as soon as we solidify this low from a major intraday, which we have not just yet. Just because no true high has been taken. This isn't even a solidified high. I shouldn't put that one there. But right, any significant high has not broken, so I cannot really assume that we're going to reach back up here just yet. So I'm going to take those out. And as I go to the smaller time frame, we keep diving deeper. We could even, I'm probably going to go to my minor intraday. Once I'm studying the price action here, right, if it's from a very external look, it really potentially looks like we could be seeing an accumulation here. But the thing is the accumulation, I cannot really confirm it until after this is taken, because then realistically, if we were to break that, then we're looking at an SOS phase, final phase there, which would be the continuation to the upside. But I cannot assume that just yet because it has not happened yet. So what do I see? I see obviously bearish momentum. I obviously see that we are, actually I'm going to do this. I see that we are bearish, correct? I see that we have a bullish reaction, that being this. I see that there is a M5 mitigation, if you guys are wondering. That's there. Excuse me. Because there is an M5 POI there, that reaction is then confirmed by taking out levels of structure. So as of right now, what I'm seeing is bearishness, high, low, and this is still a retracement. Even though you can technically argue, right, with the blue lines here, that there is a liquidity grab, there is low momentum. But what we have to realize is that in this low momentum form, or in this low momentum period, right, if there is a bullish reaction, the only thing we can assume is that we will at least meet here. That is the only thing that we can assume. We can meet here, right? After this liquidity has been taken, we cannot dictate, or we cannot 100% predict, right, what direction we'll take. And I'm not necessarily saying that here, right, we can predict with 100% certainty that we are going to meet a previous high, but the chances are much higher just because of momentum and structure rules. So there was a scenario in here that I was looking at from last night, that being confirmed LG, and then we see low momentum coming into the downside, and with the red highlighted marks you can see internal structure based on solidified points. So once that has been taken, as you can see, the confirmed liquidity grab of the original liquidity grab here, we can see that there is a scenario here, and the reason why I have that highlighted, that was actually an M15 candle there. But if you're going super technical, then you can see that there is the M5 there. So there is, or there was, a very good opportunity there to capitalize on that internal bias, even though we are still technically bearish from a major intraday / swing. That would only be, this would really only be a short-term move, meaning if you're entering anywhere here, once this high is taken, then you're break even, and that would have already broken even. But the reason why I'm not 100% confident in that is because, like I said, the accumulation has not concluded yet, and we cannot really make that judgment until, like I said, the high is taken out. So I was more so anticipating seeing, I was looking at it around right here, around 7, yeah. I was wanting to see whether this was going to reach a potential POI and then give a transition and then give you more downside. But now, in my opinion, I think this is probably going to fail. The reason why I say that is I'm actually going to delete this. We're seeing this within, obviously, like we said, the high into low, technically full on retracement. Based on that continuation, now we're seeing a confirmed LG. So in my opinion, we are probably going to see some sort of continuation into the downside. That's more so what I would be leaning towards. right? Just as of now, because of the immediate LG that has just occurred. That's probably the only reason why I'm assuming that right now. And that would align with, you know, what our current bias is, and, you know, potentially reach the orange line that we're looking for, right? And now what would invalidate this bias? The only thing that would invalidate this bias right now is this. That is the invalidation right now. So as of right now, bearish until the invalidation meets. AU, kind of, I want to say kind of the same thing, right, from a weekly. I know that, like I said, our orange lines are our targets. And this is technically just a weird one, because if we're going off 100% structure, we know that this is technically still bearish. The only reason why this will still be bearish is because, one, this never cleared a previous high. That's pretty much the main reason why we can't be full on bullish. But the issue, right, is this, because this is now a much greater scale. The overall bias, hopefully I didn't hit the mic there, I'm sorry if that disrupted. The issue with this low is, one, we just snatched it, and now we're seeing much slower momentum, right, in comparison to the move up. And this is, honestly, it's an assumption, but just based on that, I can't be 100% certain that we're still going to be bearish. So the only way, right, that we can technically be bullish is if the target is met. If the target is met, then that completely changes the bias, and we could be looking at something that's potentially POI. Obviously, before that, there is the liquidity over there, and then the liquidity grab, and then this taken out. So then this would, you know, pretty much just give us a range, this being our low into a high, and that would be your long-term bias for the, you know, for the next couple of years. But the only way to confirm that is if we take out, right, the target that we're meeting. So that's, you know, just the overall bigger scale that I'm seeing right now. But as we start to zoom in, let's go to the 12. So as you can see, I do have a box. I think we covered this last time as well, how this is a failed reaction, and how the failed reaction is really just dictating that that not only is this a failed high-low retracement, but that we are more than likely going towards our target. That's pretty much our goal right now, and what we can infer based on the gray box. So I know that the gray box is a failed reaction from a swing POV, so I know that I am bullish, especially after here. I know that I'm bullish. So the interesting thing here, right, actually, yeah, it looks like my bias from earlier was right here. The thing is we're seeing, right, a continuation BOS. We're seeing a continuation BOS here before our target has been met, right? And if you want to get super technical, I did the hard work for you, and the reason why we reacted from where we reacted from is the 50% inefficiency there. That's the only reason why we're reacting from there. So there is reason, there was a catalyst as to why the continuation BOS occurred, but like we said, this can only confirm, or that bias can only confirm us reaching our immediate target based on the scale that we're looking at. So we're looking at the daily 50% inefficiency. That's more of a swing major intraday. So this being a major intraday leg, that, you know, that is a reason why that is the immediate target, and why, you know, I would say more from a 80 to 90% chance as to this actually working out, and it did. So because that is only a continuation BOS, we know that our swing internal bias is still in play, which is the daily failed conversion. Could even be considered structural disruption to an extent, but that is still in play. So even though we have the bearish reaction, that is only a continuation BOS of the bias that is in play, that being our solidified low, and now this is our solidified high because of the BOS technically. I mean, if you wanted to even take that a step further, it could have been here. But either way, there is a confirmed high now, meaning that now, no matter how low we go, that being either here, or if we just have the immediate continuation, the bias is 100% still low. Like I said, just because of that gray box. So as I zoom in even further, right, I know that it's only a continuation BOS, so I know that my bias is still bullish, right? So with that in mind, you can see that there was a inefficiency, and then obviously the invalidation is at the low. That's the point of that box. And as we zoom in based on that, you can see that there was an internal entry, a conservative move, if you were looking for it based on that bias, and that being, right, obviously we know that here this is technically a high to low retracement, right? This is your high risk entry, but because there is an internal conversion there, then you have, right, a very conservative entry with an invalidation point, and that would have been justified as to why this continues higher. So we were looking at this, I was looking at this right when we were around here. And as you can see, we technically reacted a bit off of that. That was still a continuation BOS, but because the continuation BOS was an unsubstantial new low, and we immediately took liquidity afterwards, we were here. So I knew that the internal LG was coming. So in my opinion, this is probably going to continue higher, at least for the next couple of days. But like I said, my bias is DXY down, AU up, and probably EU up as well. So just based on that information, right, conservative entry, failed conversion here now, especially with this blue line being taken out, excuse me, because that is being taken out, failed reaction. So this is all supporting the bullish bias, and that's, you know, why I'm leaning towards that. So now as we go higher, the only thing in my opinion that could invalidate this is, right, obviously there being this big push, and this takes its time to continue lower. But like I said, it's really hard now for me to justify the continuation to the downside, because we've already failed to convert to the downside based on the continuation BOS. So in my opinion, we're more than likely to meet potentially that high. Obviously this could change. One is if we continue here based on that bias, and we continue, and then we see a bearish conversion. That bearish conversion could then have another transition here, and then that could be justification for the downside move. But just with the information that we have right now, right here, I am bullish, and I am aiming for orange line, because if we get to that orange line, then we will probably get into the next orange line. So pretty much in summary, failed conversion, internal continuation BOS, still supports the bullish bias, and looking for both orange lines. That's pretty much the bias for AU right now. EU, I know last time I think we were just looking for the immediate continuation on this one. But same thing. This one, when I was looking for targets, I couldn't see anything immediate. So the only thing that I noted was a potential monthly POI, that being technically there, but this is a monthly time frame, so I would more so make that a type of target internally if I'm looking for intraday moves. So once I begin to zoom in, same thing, nothing really of interest. Keep zooming in, still kind of nothing of interest besides, I'm pretty sure we covered this last time as well, which was the failed conversion here, and how that was pretty much why this was going to continue higher, at least for the relative short term. So you can zoom in even more based on that. And just like I said, the failed conversion, that shows, you know, continuation BOS, and then continuation into the upside. So as I keep zooming in, I know that my direction is still bullish. So what I was looking at here at the time, let's actually zoom in here. We know that this is the immediate continuation here based on that daily move that we had, the failed conversion. That's the immediate continuation, meaning technically this range has not been solidified yet if we were here. Now I would say we are solidified, right, based on just this high here. But what I care more about is what's happening inside of this kind of, you know, I don't want to call it distribution range because I'm not technically bearish, but there is a potential bearish conversion here being shown right now. So we know, right, the continuation BOS, we know that that solidifies the range technically, but that is not a sign for me to be bearish, right? This is why this is the entire point of the concept of continuation BOS, right? If you notice, I don't really use reversal BOS anywhere near as much as continuation BOS, and the reason for that is just because it used to be a really big habit that the initial BOS that you see would incline you to convert your bias, but in the end you would be wrong, and that's just the entire point of that concept, and that's why I use it so much. Pretty much just as a simple reminder that, hey, this is not a full-on breakup structure. This is just showing you that you technically solidified a range on a structural level that's higher from what you're looking at right now. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, either way, continuation BOS, I know that I'm technically not bearish. I know that I'm still bullish. So, but reminder, we are still bullish from the major / swing standpoint based on what we talked about in the daily. So continuation BOS, right, leads you into another full-on BOS. But that gave you, based on the red lines, an internal liquidity grab. So because you're seeing that, you're not even though you're still technically bullish, you can't be bullish right now just because there is bearish sentiment being shown, there is bearish reactions being shown. So at the moment, we were around here when I did these charts earlier today. Because I was looking at that based on the continuation bias towards the downside, you can see that I believe, I don't remember what time frame it was, 1 hour. Yeah, based on the 1 hour, I was looking to see if I could catch a failed bearish conversion so that it could support the bullish swing bias or the bullish major intraday bias, right? Because the major and the swing are both still technically bullish, as you can see here that we have been bullish. And we are technically looking to continue the bullishness. But like I said, H1, POI, showing a bearish sentiment potentially. This then showed another continuation BOS, meaning that this is a confirmed reaction, meaning that the POI is valid. So I know that technically I would need to be bearish, right? Unless the invalidation is met. So I was like around here when I was looking at this. Yeah, around somewhere around here. And I noted the bearish invalidation. The reason why that's important is because now, if we do the external break, I am more than likely going to be bullish on this, because we're catching a failed bearish transition or a failed bullish to bearish transition. So inevitably that would cause it to be bullish. And if that occurs, then we're looking at obviously a very big move into the upside, which would be in alignment with DXY, meaning that we would be getting closer to that orange line. So as of right now, technically you are still bearish from a minor intraday just based on the reaction from the POI. But if this continues higher, which I'm more than likely leaning towards that it will, once that happens, then I'm full on bullish. But as of right now, I'm just not bearish at all on this, even from a short term. So I do see this probably continuing higher. So I guess we'll see about that one. And then gold and DXY, I mean gold and US30, I haven't really looked at all. That's not really what I'm trading right now. But it looks like our bias from 2 weeks ago is playing out. We were still bullish on this. We're like mega bullish on this if you guys don't like understand that. And we've been saying this since September of last year. where we were looking at a POI of last year, a POI here, which was on the, I believe, the weekly. Yep, weekly POI, and how if this breaks, and I know that I remember that we weren't able to get like a good entry because we left relative equal lows, but that just shows that your equal lows shouldn't really be anything that affects your bias. It should only be a target. So, you know, lesson learned there, and this has pretty much been the bias ever since, and you know, our target is still potentially reaching there. Let's see, anything on US 30? No, I don't think so. But it seems our bias could be playing out, the bearish bias that we talked about. I literally have not looked at this in like 2 weeks. Yeah, because I remember, okay, I do see that with our notes, we were technically short-term bearish and we were looking for a reaction based on POI. We got that, but we did not get the follow through. However, I can see based on how we're currently moving, that the bias that we had originally showed, that was the, I believe it was a 3-day POI, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, something like that. No, not a 3-day. Weekly wick, there we go. Weekly wick plus internal reaction, which was this BOS here. Because of that, we are seeing our bias play out, right? Even though we didn't get the timing right, the bias is playing out there very nicely. So yeah, in my opinion, this one, leaning towards it, obviously reaching there. And then after that, we will really see whether or not this is going to die or if this is just another retracement, you know, for this being, you know, the continuation to the upside. But as of right now, I am kind of technically medium-term bearish. Long-term bullish, no idea. Long-term bearish, no idea. I mean, I would hope it's long-term bullish. If not, you know, the US 30 is not going to be our problem if this like completely melts. Yeah, other than that, that pretty much concludes today. I'm not really going to dive too deep into this or gold. You guys know what we've been talking about on that one. So do you guys have any questions, anything you guys want to review? Yeah, it was a bit of a long one. Could you review GU? No, I cannot review GU, but if you want to show me what you see on GU, by all means show me. I don't just review pairs. Did you get to identify the last bearish invalidation in EU? Simple. We were on M15. I didn't dive deeper, but the reason why was M5, solidified point. Does that make sense? Yeah. See, you can see that this is even continuation BOS, but this one not really too relevant. This is the one that's relevant. Continuation BOS, because this was the final push down. High, low, solidifies range, retracement. So that, right, is very important for me. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see this. You know, currently the scalp invalidation would be there just because of the continuation BOS. So hopefully this goes up. Cool. Does anybody have any more questions? I'm hoping you guys brought some stuff in today. I have a case on US 100. Yeah, go for it. We'll go for it. Cool, yes. Yeah, go ahead. Let me, you should be able to share screen now. Should be able to share screen.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah, hold on. Let me fix my audio. Okay, I think it's good now.
Okay, the idea was simple. So I have seen this morning this stuff from the Asia session, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen this liquidity grab, and after that, this one. And for me, the market is, or I can say that, moving from bearish to bullish.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting a quick scalp from this last push because he breaks this high and he leaves an inefficiency there. So I was expecting a comeback on this inefficiency, which we had there. And with this, sorry, just let me quickly clean this. And with this movement there, I was, okay, it's the last like liquidity grab and we can start to go higher. But the market finally give a push, which take me out of the trade. And after that, I think this is a news from today. And why I don't can explain it's all with this stuff, like we have the first liquidity grab and the next one, this is like an inducement to trap people, right? And with this breakout structure, I don't understand how these two candles can be so deep after this inefficiency.
Okay. So what is your bias? Major
So
intraday swing.
Yeah, from
Okay.
1 hour.
Okay.
I was expecting this retracement there from this week there. So we
why
can
that wick? That wick technically
because it
is not correct.
yeah. Okay,
Only
because for me it's like the
yeah. Let me show you. So that's technically not correct because the open is here.
okay.
So you go based on the open. So you see how the open here, the open to the wick, and then on a bullish side, this would be the bullish wick, technically. But yeah, this isn't correct only because look at where you're basing it from, which is not the candle open. So you see candle open and candle open.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So try to change your time frame. Maybe you'll find something different. It's a little thing,
Because
bro.
for me
It's
this was
thing.
like
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, continue.
Yeah, because for me this was the last big week without being mitigated, and we know we need at least 50% to be mitigated correctly. We can say that.
Okay, so you have the concept right. The concept itself is correct, but I'm just, the only issue that I see is where you're getting your wicks from. Because if you're doing it like that, then you can pick any wick that you want with that knowledge or with that approach.
Yeah.
You could pick any wick that you want, but you always want to base it on the candle open.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So just if you base it on the candle open, that'll change everything. But yeah, continue. That's why your bias is bullish. Is because you're overall bullish, correct?
Right. This is because we see this big mitigation, and from this point we can see like the
structure.
the unwillingness, yeah, and continue.
So at that point, I would zoom in because
with,
you see how everything's super cramped up. I would zoom in, go to like your M30 or like your M50, probably like your M30, just to try to get some more. Yeah, so you see how it looks better now. So if I'm looking for a bullish move, right? Can you hide this? Can you hit that, please?
yeah.
So if I'm looking for a bullish move, then I have to see that I'm in a bullish transition. So as you can see, we are technically bearish internally, but this is technically a pullback, correct? From like a daily kind of thing. It is, right?
Yeah.
So from a daily, it should be, yeah, just a retracement. Yeah, looks like because that is unwillingness. Okay, so just go back now. Okay, so I know that this is technically the beginning of a pullback, but that has to be bearish in order for it to occur. So solidified point, high, all the way into low, right? You could even say there's another solidified point here, but I would consider that part of the range of the major, and then the minor would obviously be that because that has been taken out. So this continuation BOS, this I know solidifies this is a low. Because of the continuation BOS, this is probably the bottom of your pullback, just based on that. But just because it's the bottom of your pullback does not mean that you're bullish automatically, because this could have 50% and then fell lower. All I know is that this is now my solidified low. So I know that if I'm bullish to any aspect, this is my bias invalidation. So now that I know that, let's go to M15. Zoom in. I just want to see this part. Cool. So, like I said, continuation BOS. That's all I see there, and then I see a discount. But like you said, there is an Asian range. This, I don't care about this at all. Why? Because we are within this range. So the only way that I'm going to be bullish technically based on this is if I'm being conservative, is if this is taken out, which it doesn't happen until later. So if you're taking any type of scenario here or here or here, then you're technically still within no man's land because you have not broken through a previous high. This is only a continuation BOS, right? So technically, this is still a continuation to potentially go lower. But if you want to be a lot more, I guess, detailed with that, now we can go to M5. And now I just want to see that part. That part. That's, yeah. So can you do that, please? Cool. So no, move the screen more, zoom out a little bit. Zoom out a little bit. I still want to see the previous part, the continuation BOS. Okay, that's fine. Continuation BOS. Right, like you said, this is your Asia range, right? And then it whiplashes, right? But the only way that you're going to justify any kind of scenario now without the structure is if you're technically following a model, and the model would technically be, right, sweeping liquidity, bullish liquidity grab, low, high, and then, right, anything here is a retracement, right? But there really isn't a POI to make a play off of here, right? Excuse me. That's why you would more so want to be conservative. So the only scenario that I see can make sense here is we see the high being broken. We see the transitional curve, low, high retracement, but now we know that the picture is painted clear based on this. So really, if you wanted to take a scenario, it would have needed to be either based on this parameter, but that's a bit hard to judge because this parameter happened before the high. So at the moment, you would have to be basically trading that big scenario. That would be the only thing that makes sense here. And the reason why that makes sense is because of the order flow there. Or if you're trading the internal M1 move there, but that could be a little bit more complex. So the only scenario that would have made sense to me, it wouldn't have been here. It would have been here.
Okay.
Because that
Yeah,
waits
I
for the
see.
full confirmation. Whereas you're still playing, we're still playing here.
Okay.
But yeah, you can show me your notes again.
So there I have buy there, but I was still in premium, right?
But what is your invalidation?
Sorry?
What is your invalidation?
I don't have place invalidation, I think. It was based on the 1 hour stuff. And after that was based only with the Asia range and the 2 liquidity grab.
Yeah, but so look at this. So you're playing based on this, right? You're playing based on that.
It was more on this one.
Oh, with that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was my mistake.
That is playing based on that range. So I would say your invalidation would have been here. So the only way your bias could have been invalidated is if this low was taken. So if you wanted to be conservative, you could take your entry there. But if you want to be 100% conservative, especially when you're playing in the range, your SL has to be your invalidation. So it kind of kills the RR, but you still win the trade. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to study invalidation. So it'll kill the RR, but you'll win the trade, right? So if you're trying to trade that scenario, so if you don't want to be in that kind of situation, then you don't trade that scenario. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I have put this this invalidation there, but based on after that, based on the move from the news. So I still was wrong about this.
And that was because your range hadn't solidified yet. You're only going off that you're trying to be bullish based off what I just said you shouldn't be doing with just focusing on CBOS. You're 100% bullish just because of that, but that's not enough.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because this is still technically bearish internally. But yeah, definitely focus on your invalidation. Invalidation is probably going to be the number one thing.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
No worries. Cool. Who is next? Let's see. Anybody else? See, please go up. There. I don't know, bro. Were you being too conservative? I can't tell you much based on what you're asking me. You're not showing me anything. You have to show me something. I can't just I don't know. Okay, so are you gonna, Shamar, are you gonna send me something? You're gonna show me something? I don't know any context. If not, I could just move on to the next person. There's 24 of you guys in here. If nobody has anything to say, we can end it here. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to send his charts over. But we can probably just move on to the next person. Or just unmute yourself. That's an easier one. I have a journal. Yeah, you can send it over later. I don't, as long as it's sent today or tomorrow, it's fine. I don't mind. Cool, I'll give it a couple more minutes, see if you guys want to bring something up. Okay, I think he got kicked out of the call, that's why. Okay, he's back now. Okay.
Hey, Alfredo.
Hello, hold on.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. The issue is that I can't really draw up a chart because I'm at work. But if you don't mind, I can narrate and then you just annotate what I'm doing it.
I mean, if it's like that, bro, just send me a journal later.
All right, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah. Because yeah, that's gonna take way too long. If I'm being honest.
All right, no problem.
But yeah, anybody else? Tips in regards to what? What exactly? What part about being in finance at college? Balancing time and studies. Honestly, bro, if you want to be 100% honest, the odds of you fully balancing your classes, your charts, and like responsibilities, you're probably not gonna have time for anything else. And if you have time for anything else, then probably you're messing up in at least one of the two, whether that be school or charts. It's really hard to balance both. So I think whenever you're trying to balance the both, I think the question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? And if you aren't willing to sacrifice things, then are you willing to suffer the consequence of potentially getting either not much progress with trading or not good grades? It just depends. But it also depends on how many classes you have. You could have 4, you could have 2. Yeah, no, I mean, I would say, how many years do you have left? You have 1 more year left. I would say, bro, just buckle down, get it done, and then think about other things. Just get it done. Because I spent the entirety of last year, to just like figure out what I'm gonna do for the next couple of years, and just get it all like kind of not necessarily 100% sorted out, but just have a good idea of what I want to do by the time I graduate. So now that I'm graduated, I'm ahead of the curve, kind of thing. And the curve being you, like I'm ahead of where I would have been if I hadn't done that. So I would say just spend the next year studying, making sure you figure out what exactly you want to do with your life, and just having like an overall overview. If you can already have it implemented by the time you graduate, that would be perfect. But at least have like a general outline, because that's pretty much what I spent my last semester. Like that was my full focus, like my last semester. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely hard, bro. I wouldn't. The amount of free time I have now is actually way more, but there's like another thing too. And this is what I wanted to talk about, which was the term time is money is like super overrated. Agree or disagree? I think it's super overrated. Time is money. And I don't think it makes much sense. Agree or disagree? Yeah, I think what I've realized is I have enough time now to do almost anything that I want, but at the same time, I don't have like the bandwidth to do everything that I want. So I think attention is more valuable than time. Because if I could sit down and, you know, do deep work for 4 hours every single day, I would get so much more done than casually doing 10 hours of work every day for the next couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So I think now that I do have more time, I think that the focus should not be how do I get as much done with my day, is how do I get the most done by doing the least in one day or in every day kind of thing. Because if I can focus my attention on what I'm supposed to focus my attention on, it could actually, you know, greatly increase the output, if that makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not saying it's false. I'm just saying it's a bit of an overrated statement. I'm not saying that it's like false. Okay, I see that. LG entry, boom. Break even should be there. Yeah, I would anticipate that, mainly because of wherever this is reacting from, but mainly because of that. That's the reason why I'm leaning towards your target being met. Second one. Okay, nice. Yep, and if you're doing this, let me see, this is M5. What time frame is this? 1 hour, okay. Yeah, break even here would be super complicated, because if you're entering based on here, then you can't really break even here or else you would have been taken out. Because even if that break of structure occurs, your invalidation is still there. So I'm assuming you just held it through that, which is smart. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I don't have much to talk about today. I did have that little rant on attention, just because that's kind of what my focus is for the next kind of year. Is just, can I get my attention under my control and at my will? Because of, you know, what we just talked about. That's pretty much like what my goal is for the end of the year. Yep. So does anybody have any comments, concerns, anything they want to bring up? Any response? Cool. Yeah, also if you guys have any video ideas or just things that you think I should touch on, definitely let me know on Discord. I know I have, like I said, I have 1 or 2 already, so I'm gonna have to note those down. But if anybody has anything they want to add on there, by all means, message me on Discord. Yep, definitely. Hold on. My bad. Yeah, I mean, I bought this book too. I have a bunch of books I need to read, but I bought this book. It's called The 4-Hour Workweek. And I want to see if I can implement 4-hour work weeks every day. So like instead of, you know, focusing 10 hours on work, focus 4 hours on work, but learn how to be 100% efficient with, you know, those 4 hours and do that every single day. Because I hate like working for like, or like not necessarily working, but like just doing things that require work for anything above 10 hours. Anything above that is like kind of just exhausting. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's with everything. Like you don't go to the gym all day so you can become swole or to become stronger sooner, you know what I mean? You do X amount of hours, X amount of days, over X amount of weeks, and you get X results. So I think just treating it the same way. But yeah, that's a book that I bought. Let me see, what other books have I bought? I bought Jordan Peterson's book, and I bought Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Has anybody heard of that one? That's probably one I recommend. This is going to be one I read for like the next couple of years. Meditations. Meditations is a good one. Do you meditate often? No, but I definitely should be. I wish I meditated more. It's definitely something. I read like a chapter. No, I read like a chapter every session. Yep. Focus and attention. Yep. Cool. So does anybody have any more questions? Anything you want to bring up? Any specific plans for the London meet or just chill? Yeah, just chill, bro. I'm not trying to do no. I'm not running no trading event. If that's what y'all are wondering, I'm not doing that. Like I'm on vacay over there, so I'm just trying to chill. Maybe get a cool pick or so. You know what I mean? How long? Probably like 2-3 days. 2-3 days ish. I don't even know what the head count is. I think it's like 20 something people already. I recommend staying longer. Damien, like, hold on. If y'all send me private messages, like direct messages, like you could still see it on Zoom, just so you guys know. Yeah, I put the chat on the recording just so people can follow what I'm reading.